The dollar is built on the confidence of all the people in the world. Is this system going to last long? We know that things will collapse eventually. The plan is to just be smart about what you're doing. You need a layer of protection before you go out there and decide to do these things called investments.
Ladies and gentlemen, the one and only Conrad Alagaban. Welcome to Lindell, getting live with Lindell Keith, sir.
What's up, Lindell? Thank you for having me on the show, man. I'm excited. I haven't seen you in a couple of years, and I'm happy to catch up, brother.
Yeah, I can't believe it's been a couple of years, man. I think I haven't had a haircut since the last time you saw me. It's out of control, dude. You're looking good, man. You're looking good, looking young,
Thank
vibrant.
you. Yep. I tried the DIY haircut, and then my stylist drove over, and then she actually cut my hair. So
nice,
that was really
nice. You were just saving her some time. That's all you were doing. You were giving her a head start.
I was like, hey, if you're coming over, I'm only paying you $5. I'm just joking.
It's so weird right now, dude. It's like in-home house services, contact-free pizza delivery. It's so weird.
Surreal. It's so surreal. It feels like a movie because it's like all this bad stuff is happening to other people on the news, but nothing's happening to you. It's literally the same. I'm on my computer, I'm talking to people, everyone's good, my family's healthy, everyone's healthy, and just bad stuff is happening somewhere in the world. It's surreal as heck, right?
It really is. It really is. It blows my mind, and I try not to. I don't watch too much news at all. My wife is my information source. And I'm like,
I just watch the news just once. I don't normally watch the news. I see things on Facebook that people upload, but I turned it on like a couple of days ago just to see, and I was like, wow, that looks like a preview for like a movie. But it's the news. It's like 30 million people laid off. Da, 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 da. So many people died. I'm like, that's gonna be a crazy thriller movie, but it's not.
It really is. So how's Viceroy Entrepreneur Center going? And just so you guys know that are watching, Conrad is a financial advising guru and the founder of Viceroy Entrepreneur Center here in Dallas. And they do really cool things, helping people get their finances in order, providing them with a cool space to work at, and that environment of connection. And right now, unfortunately, you guys probably can't work in that environment. Everything's virtual
officing, brother. Virtual officing.
Yeah. How did you get involved in financial planning? What's a little bit of your background, and how did that come to be? Because we talk about obstacles into opportunities on this show, and talk about different ways of innovating and growing and all of that stuff. Just cool, valuable information to share with people. And I think what I've noticed is in a common thread is a lot of people really don't know what to do with their money whenever it comes in. And I was one of those people too. I was thinking, okay, whenever I start to make a lot of money, then I'll start investing, and then I'll start getting organized. And it doesn't work that way.
No.
You have to start wherever you're at. And even if it's like 97% of your income for bills and stuff like that, and then 1% for this and 1% for that and 1% for that, it's those little branches that can really start to grow. So what inspired you to get involved in the financial world, and what does that look like for the people that you work with?
Yeah, well, a little bit about my background. I started out in door-to-door sales, and it was the hardest thing I could do in the summertime. So I thought I'd do it because they said, hey, if you could overcome this, you could do whatever the heck you want to do in life. So I sold books, educational books, software, door to door, for several years throughout college.
Like encyclopedias?
Yeah, like encyclopedias. They were more study guides by that time, and they also had CDs for like learning your ABCs and your SAT prep, things of that nature. So yes, very similar to those kids that sold encyclopedias back in the day, in the age of the internet. Talk about hard.
Yeah,
and
no doubt.
As I was graduating from college, I realized that it's very easy to teach people these communication skills. So I had kids running around the state of Texas and running my marketing campaign for political campaigns after college to help people work their campaigns and figure out what are people out there needing. So I had college students and high school students across the state of Texas knocking on doors and making phone calls. And I got paid as a political consultant, helping people win office or get issues out to the people to say, hey, this is an important issue. You should vote on this issue. Throughout that time, political consulting and the experience of going door to door, that allowed me to build a lot of connections, a lot of network. I became a super networker, and I realized that I could help people improve or build their business. And so that's how I got into my business consulting. Business consulting allowed me to really help people get started, grow their business, or improve on their business, but not with their money situations. I just realized that no matter how much money I helped somebody make, they always made poor decisions with the money. And so did I. I made a lot of money and I spent a lot of money. It was just waters, like comes in, goes out. Do you know how much you need to spend, save, grow? I don't. I just spend it. I don't know. So I just realized at a certain point in my own personal business, I was paying for workman's compensation. I was paying for general liability. I was paying for 2 life insurance policies, a tax guy. I was realizing, man, finance, there's something about finance. Is there any way I can cut it in and pay myself for doing my own finances? So I started learning about what insurance was, what tax planning is, what estate preservation, estate planning, things for personal finance and things for business finance or small business finance. And I started understanding all of these components, and I got licensed in general lines, life and health, and accidents and annuities. So what that means right now is, as a licensed professional, I'm able to help set up life insurance plans, health insurance plans, and retirement plans in the state of Texas. And I can get non-resident license and help people out all across America. So I started working with different companies that were big major brokers that represented many, many, many different carriers. That way, that allowed me to see from a small business owner standpoint, like, what are all the big guys doing? How are they doing it? What are they doing to grow their companies, grow their businesses, protect their businesses, save their money? And there's some very powerful information that I learned along the way. And once you get into finance, you realize it's very simple to actually do your own personal finances. And the basis of it is exactly what you said. It doesn't matter how much money you have. It only matters what you do with the money when you get it. Because I have guys that are in my network that are big business owners. They have a lot of things happening, but they also have the same equal amount of debt. So whether they make like $1 million, but they spend $1 million, that doesn't really help out because it leaves them with nothing in the end. Also, for the guys that are, let's say, $50,000 annual income, let's say a teacher or somebody who's just new in their profession, between $30,000, $40,000, $50,000, their expenses match it. They spend the same amount of money. But when you think about a small business, or not a small, when you think about a big business that's paying employees, what do? A big business typically pays employees by first taking out the taxes and then taking out the healthcare benefits and the 401k, so all the benefits. And then you get this check at the end, and that check already took care of your savings, your taxes, and your plan for your healthcare, or any other benefits the company might be giving you, but also charging you and matching. So if employers are already doing that, then the really neat thing is that us as small business owners or as individuals can play the same game. Very simple, right? So let's say you earn $3,000 in a month. Let's say you actually earn $4,500, but your check looks like more like $3,000. So $1,500 already went to taxes, health benefits, 401k, and whatever else. So now the same thing you do with that money, you take a piece of it and you save it outside of the job. Why do you want to save something out of a job? Because your job is not really that guaranteed. People think job means security, but ask the 30 million plus million Americans that are just like laid off recently and taking unemployment. The state of Texas is going to run out of money for its unemployment before this month is over. In fact, Texas in the last several weeks has paid out 2 years worth of unemployment insurance. And we're one of the states that can actually save money and have money left over. You know what I mean? Think about the
Yeah.
other states that don't even have this ability. They don't even have any money. They're going bankrupt. Like some states are already bankrupt, now even more so.
So
So what does
crazy.
that mean? What does that mean for the average individual, the average person? It means that we gotta plan it smart and we gotta save a little bit. And I like what you were talking about when we were discussing your finances earlier, Lyndall, about saving a little bit, giving to charity, and then growing money. Those
Yeah.
three components, and then add to that taxes. And I think then we have a good idea. Let's say if you take that $3,000 that we were talking about, which is what I would say that a single dude in Texas could get by with pretty decently. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
So let's say $3,000. Well, if you take maybe $500 to $700 of that, and then break that off into the chunks that are you don't have to worry about taxes. The government, the job already took care of it. But if you're a small business owner, you have to worry about it, so you got to plug it in.
That's the
So
first thing. Yeah.
yes, maybe or maybe not taxes, depending on your job status. But for sure, saving your money in a savings account, just a percentage of it. And for you, Lyndall, you said that at the very beginning, it was like 10% to savings, 10% to maybe giving away, and then the rest of it was like, okay, expenses. Like the other chunk is expenses.
Yeah.
And that's a smart way to go about it. And then also, very crucially, the third thing being growing money, and growing money somewhere where you don't lose money. That's important. I have people right now, they're calling me back and saying, Conrad, I'm so excited. My money is going back up. I'm like, okay, cool. I'm looking at the Dow Jones, I'm looking at S&P 500, and I know their money is back up to last year at the beginning of 2019. When the money
Awesome.
tanked, we lost all the way up to 2017 dollars. Like anything made beyond 2017 lost this year in less than a month. And now we're back up to 2019. So what does that mean? That means America's not even at even yet. So many young people like us millennials, we're okay. We're like, hey, that's fine for us. We can wait for our money to grow. But what about like the 70 to 80 million baby boomers who are retiring like right now? Those guys don't have time to wait for their money to come back. They're not going to wait 5 years. So we got to plan ahead because it takes time to really grow money. Compounding interest, even if you play the market, takes at least 8 to 10 years to see the double of your money. If you're not doing anything,
Hmm.
just leave it there. It's going to double 8 to 10 years, and plus or minus the market dip. Then you have to wait again some more.
Yeah. Well,
So
two things on
yeah.
that. One thing, I'm not a millennial.
Oh yeah. You're
Generation
Generation
X, baby.
X. Hey,
Generation X, baby. Hey, what's up? What's up?
but
Generation
bro, you
X in the
look so
house.
young. That's why I thought.
Oh
But
well,
I know
thank
how
you.
old you are.
You look
Forget
like a baby, bro. Filipino phenomenon in the house. What did you say? The
Asian don't raisin, baby.
Asian don't raisin. So the second
Yeah,
thing that I wanted to ask you is, what do you think about Acorns?
Acorn is a
Acorns,
great app.
the
The
app.
app. Yeah. I
Yeah.
personally, I have nothing against normal acorns out there. I feel that seeds plant the earth and grow more trees. I don't know what comes out of acorns. I think trees,
Oak
but
trees.
oak trees. Oh, that's super cool. Um,
Yeah, the mighty oak.
they're fun to throw at people when you were a kid and then run away.
In the slingshot. Sping!
Oh, that's worse. Oh, that's horrible. Uh, that's
All the
like karma.
squirrels.
Karma,
All the
don't
squirrels.
hope
Look out.
karma doesn't come back at you.
So yeah,
But
I
Acorns,
was
the
wondering
app,
about Yeah,
Robinhood, those are all good. Those are all
I
good
signed
apps.
up with Acorns not too long ago,
Yeah,
and I guess probably about a couple months ago, and I
sure.
just set it up to where, you know, all my spare change gets invested on my behalf. You know, if I spend 286 at Starbucks, it just rounds it up to the nearest dollar, and 14 cents goes into an account, and once that hits $5 of spare change, it just and takes it out of my bank and invests that for me. So what do you know much about it? Do you know much about, you know, where the money goes, and, you know, is it worth it in your opinion?
So people have done studies, and let's say apps like Robinhood, Acorn, they have changed the game because let's say, for example, Robinhood does not even cost anything to manage your money, which TD Ameritrade and all the other apps out there, they all always have that advisory charge and management charge of like 2% of the money, but no management fee. Wow, that's crazy. But what are they getting in return? They actually have your money in their accounts. You know what I mean? You're establishing like a bank with that company.
Yeah.
So do they need to charge you? I mean, no.
They're
Right?
making a little money on letting people borrow our money.
Exactly. And they're gonna put a large, just like regular banks today, you want to borrow from a bank, they're gonna charge 8%, 16%, 20%, and they're gonna give you a very nice feedback fee of, hey, thanks for letting me use your money to lend to that guy. You get 0.0025%, which
Yeah.
is nothing.
Yeah,
If you do the
no.
calculation, it'll double in several thousand years. So it's exciting. So yeah, these apps are good practice for just building the habit of putting money away and not thinking about it. But these are the
Hmm.
very small. These are what I would say the starters. This is like the gateway drug. So get started on small things like this. But then when you're really really thoughtful about like how you want to play, you can look at other things. Roth IRAs have been something that everyone's put money in. IRAs, let's say, for example, your money is sitting in a 401k and then you just got fired. Typically, what ends up happening is they either keep your 401k there or they move it to an account that's not doing anything. Pretty much like a bank account, but it's highly likely not doing anything. And it's up to you to determine what you're going to do with that money. Now, there's IRAs, Roth IRAs, there are annuities, there are IRPs, insurance retirement products, 529 savings plans if you want to do something for the kids, college savings plans, health savings accounts if you want to do something for your health. So many different things, but you got to know that every single one of these things have pros and cons. And as long as you get educated in these things, you will be able to make decisions that make sense for you. And when surprises happen, like the market tanks, you're not surprised at all. You'll be able to manage the flow of your money and understand how it works. And it's not something then that at that point, it's not something that just the rich people know about. It's very basic
Right.
things, and you can do it too.
Right. I love a lot of the stuff that Robert Kiyosaki talks about, and, you know, talking about the stuff that we don't learn in school, and you know, as far as how money works and all that. Are you familiar with the term cash flow insurance?
Yeah, cash flow insurance is something that I do all the time. I do it all the time.
Do you?
And yeah, and that's crucial because I can say that I haven't lost a single dollar for any of my clients. And
Yeah. So
I've been
I
buying from these for 7 years now.
so recently I got an ebook. I can't remember the dude's name off the top of my head, but an ebook called "What Would the Rockefellers Do?"
Ah,
And
very good.
it really blew my mind because I was educated on the fact. So basically, in this book, what he does is he compares the Rockefeller family to the Vanderbilt family, and the difference between the way that they set up their trusts, and how one family, the Rockefellers, is still going strong generations later and still on like the top 50 list in the world, you know, and then the Vanderbilts are nowhere to be found. And he talks about how you can actually set up a centralized bank
You can.
for your family utilizing cash flow insurance, and
Right.
you can borrow against that insurance policy,
Right.
and then basically you just pay yourself back.
Exactly.
So you don't go to a bank for a loan, you go to your own policy for a loan, and you pay it back with no interest, and it still stays in the family. And it was
Hey,
so
Lindo,
interesting. Yeah,
I'm so glad you're learning the stuff I was trying to teach you
I
so
am.
many years ago, bro. So many years ago. And
I
you're
am too.
explaining it so well right now, bro. I'm so proud of you, man.
Awesome, thank
Yeah,
you. Yeah,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
it's been something, I hate to say it, but since the quarantine started, I really have taken a serious look, and listening to a lot of Jim Rohn, like I was sharing with you earlier, and understanding more about your philosophy on life, and how you look at things and your attitude towards things. And one of the things he said is you learn to be a happy taxpayer, and I was like, that is a foreign freaking concept. Are you
But it's so
serious?
true.
But the
Yeah.
way that he laid it out was, everybody's got to pay. Would you
Yeah.
rather ride your sidewalk and whether you rather blah, blah, would you rather ride your skateboard in mud or on a sidewalk? Right? Like, we all got to pay. We all got to pitch in. We all have to help feed
Coming
the goose that lays the golden egg. Like
coming
our
from
economy.
an like an island, and then also coming from the Philippines, you I appreciate paying taxes, because when I
Yeah,
go over there and the corruption that happens, and it's in the quality of the street that people live on, and whether or not that thing gets maintained. And you
mm,
come over here, we get like perfect roads. Not everywhere, but many places have like perfect roads. You go to suburbia, the sewage system, the trash gets picked up, the lights are on. In Philippines, if you get lights on at night, you're lucky, right?
yeah. I can imagine, dude.
I'm okay. I'm all like, I'm okay. I understand. I see what third world doesn't have. I see what we have. I understand why it would cost that much to.
Yeah. We all got to pitch in. We all got to
Now, is
help.
it messed up? It's not perfect. It's not a perfect
Right.
system. It's okay. Like, there's always things to fix, but I'm happy for what we currently have. I can appreciate it. And I'm glad you're seeing it too. I'm glad you're learning Jim Rohn stuff. Love me some Jim Rohn, bro.
Dude, it's fantastic, man. I mean, like I was sharing with you, I'm doing here's my big binder right here. I'm doing the Jim
Oh,
Rohn 1 year success plan. I'm on week 7. I got everything in dividers in here, and
yeah, you
rocking
started
that out.
quarantine week 1.
I did, man. Like
Tell me about your
I
quarantine.
was like, you know what? Like, I really got to start taking a look. I'm 38 now, and married and got 2 kids, and it's important for me to know these things and continue to
Yes.
grow my knowledge and my skill sets, and be a good example for the kids.
Right.
And not just for the kids, but for my own situation. Because if I don't grow, my situation is not going to change.
Mm-hmm.
And I for the longest time, I just kept doing things the way that I always did, and it just kept me in the same place. And I'm like,
Mm-hmm.
why aren't I getting ahead? Why aren't I getting ahead? Well, it's because you're doing the same crap over and over again, bro. You got to make some changes. And Jim Rohn really, really, really helped me take a look at that stuff and
Somebody put
get
it to me
real.
the right way. He's like, "Do you want to be right, or do you want to be wealthy?" I'm okay. Yeah, I can be wrong.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. So I've just been hella reading, man. I mean, I got Think and Grow Rich right here, 15 valuable laws of growth. Now, I don't know if you've ever read this, dude. Have you ever read The Greatest Salesman in the World?
Yep, that's one of my favorite books. I love that book.
Dude, this little bitty freaking thing
Yeah.
is so good. So
Yeah.
if you're watching this and you want to really understand some laws of success and growth, man, you have to
Yes.
read this. And don't
Read
let the
this.
yeah, by Og Mandino, dude. This book is
Og
so good.
Ogmandino.
Og Mandino in
Learn
the house.
about Babylon and Akkad and all those things. Doesn't
The
matter
rich.
what century it is. The richest man in Babylon. Boom. There we go. That one.
Yes,
There we
bro.
go.
I got them for,
Oh,
oh no.
we're
Timer
out. We're
down.
out.
Hold on. Let's go ahead and readjust that real fast. 3, 2, 1. Yeah, dude,
Boom.
I got these things for days, bro. I mean, all
Yeah, I
kinds of
said it and
really cool
out.
stuff I'm learning.
Now, do you have the Art of Seduction in there? I bet you do.
You know, I don't have the Art of Seduction because, I mean, that really is just natural to me.
Hey, it comes with the hair.
It comes with the hair, bro. It's like Samson in the Bible, you know, my strength is in my hair. I got seduction
Hey,
strands.
the part, the
Strands of
part.
Seduction. That's going to be the name of this episode. Strands of Seduction in a sexy manner.
Boom.
No, I don't have that book. That's one book that I do need to get. I have a list of some other books that I need to get, but I just got this one. I haven't started it yet because it's a freaking textbook, bro. But
The
The Law of
Law of
Success.
Success. So Napoleon Hill, he traveled across the United States and picked the brains of the smartest guys that are wealthy. And then he compiled his lifelong learning in that book. And Think and Grow Rich. I mean, he made a compendium. Basically, he had like a he's like Robert Kiyosaki's Cash Flow Quadrant, Rich Dad Poor Dad. He just had like a
Yeah,
compendium from all of these things.
yeah,
Man.
extremely powerful. Now there's a class that I took when I was living in California. PSI Seminars, and PSI stands for Personal Success Institute. And the guy that founded it in the 70s was mentored by a gentleman named
Is it the same guy that created Landmark for him?
no, actually, the guy that created Landmark was a graduate, I believe, of PSI Seminars.
That's what I think there was a connection there. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So William Penpatrick was the first gentleman to ever create a network marketing company. And William Penpatrick, so Napoleon Hill, what he decided to do was he created a mastermind group with all of these success principles and everything. And William Penpatrick was part of his 10-person mastermind group, the first one.
Wow.
So William Penpatrick mentored Thomas Wilhite, who was the founder of PSI Seminars.
Wow.
So I did all of the PSI Seminars work back in 2012. This eagle ring right here is my men's leadership seminar ring from PSI Seminars. But the basic seminar is their first class, and it's 3 days. It's a Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. And basically what they do is they took all of the tools inside of Think and Grow Rich, and they created experiential exercises out of all the tools.
So epic.
So what you're doing is you're actually experiencing the book and learning all the tools in it so you can take it and implement it in your life. Because, you know, you can read all day long and it's great. But, you know, there's a difference between reading a book on sailing and actually going sailing.
Right.
That's
that's so powerful. There's all of these different things that people can apply themselves to. And now that we're in quarantine season, quarantine era, definitely, you know, I mean, it's making a life switch right now. What can we do? And I'm so happy that you're creating this podcast and video blog and sending it out to people and letting people know. This is crucial information, bro. Like literally our conversation right now, just in the last 20 minutes or 30 minutes has been like a lifetime of learning for me anyways. You're talking, just the books you pulled out was like 10 years of my learning, because, you know, I read it and then I had to apply it. Then I had to suck at it. I had to learn what it actually meant. Then I read it again and it's like a new light, that's what it meant. Man, and I'm still, I still haven't like fully downloaded everything. Just the 4 books that you picked up, I still have to go back and relearn and reset, you know?
Oh yeah, always. Many times, you know. One thing that Jim Rohn said that was really cool, he's like, you know, we do these recordings and we do these videos for you for a reason, so you can hear good stuff. You don't just listen to it once and then put it on the shelf. It's like a good song. If you hear a really good song, you don't want to say, okay, that's it, don't want to hear it anymore. Heard it once.
And I think the other thing on top of that is that aside from teaching other people, it's just also a good accountability, because then people are gonna go, "Are you doing it?" And then you have sometimes, many times you are, but many times you fall by the wayside and forget. You're like, "Oh, I should do it. Oh yeah, 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 yeah." So then it's like getting a reminder, because you're talking about it and people can hold you accountable to it. And I love
Yeah.
that about all of this stuff.
Yeah. It's really awesome, man. And that's why I wanted to do this podcast and do this show and just keep talking about this stuff. Because the more that I talk about it and share this valuable information, the more I keep it alive in my own life and I keep myself in check. You know, there's one quote that I say that I kind of try to live by, and it's, you know, I don't speak education and motivation to preach. I do it to keep myself in check in hopes of inspiring you. You
Hey,
know, you
I
know what I
like it.
mean? Yeah.
Yes.
That's what
Yes.
it's about, dude. It's really about constantly reminding. I think the more we look in the mirror and the more we tell ourselves a affirmation of what is actually going on in our life.
Mm.
I really like how Jim Rohn put this. He said, you know, I'm all about affirmations as long as you're affirming the truth.
Boom. Right?
Because,
I
you
think
know, like
we
repeating,
all
if you're broke, if you're
yeah.
40 and flat broke,
Yeah.
it's important to say, I'm broke. You know,
Yeah.
that can be the most powerful day in your entire life when you have enough. I've had enough. I'm 40, I live in America, and I'm freaking broke. How's that possible? We've got everything available to us. Any book that you could want, every piece of information right here on the internet, whatever you want to know, you could just YouTube the crap out of it and study, you know?
Right.
It's we live in such a cool time. We really have no excuses.
It's the first world challenges that we give ourselves that put a blinder on. And now in this quarantine era, we can take that blinder off, because yeah, now it's okay to say on Facebook that I am broke, right? Like, hey, I don't have any money, and so does that guy, and so does that guy. But before that, no, it just looked good online, right? So now we can all go on through this together. I mean, every single person has a challenge, you know? So
Mm-hmm.
it's okay to discuss those challenges and have conversations like this, where we can say, what are we going to do to overcome that together? Because these challenges are not like one person, although it feels like for each person, like I'm the only one going through this. No, these are systemic. Like everybody is going through this, you know?
It's
Um,
wild. It's
Weight
so wild.
issues, money issues. I mean, people are worried about the look. Check this out, man. People are worried about coronavirus. They're dying of diabetes at home. They, like people are worried about going broke. They get the stimulus check. They buy stuff on Amazon, and Amazon just paid 29 billion extra dollars. Why? Because
Come on.
everyone got a stimulus check.
Come on. I know, dude. It's
So
so
what?
wild.
Let's
Oh
like focus
man.
on the real thing, and that I'm happy that actually today that this quarantine era has really allowed, let's say, the earth to breathe a little. It has allowed people to come to check and reality check, like what I need to do in my life. What's real? Like relationships are real. Like I can't believe I can't fly to Germany to see my sister, and I was supposed to be on a plane last Wednesday, and I can't because I can't fly to Europe. And I was like,
Mhm.
whoa, that hit hard when you can't. I mean, when you can't do something, now everybody wants to connect and communicate, right? But
Yeah.
before this, everybody's like, oh, stay away. Oh, it's my sister. Oh, stay away. You know. But now it's like, oh, I can't go. I need a Zoom with you, Zoom meeting, Facebook, FaceTime, whatever. Now I gotta connect with you. But before, I didn't want to spend any time with you.
It's the weirdest thing. Like a couple weeks ago, it was Saturday evening, and my wife had a craving for Mexican food. And it was Saturday night at 8 o'clock, and there was nowhere to get Mexican food. It was the weirdest thing. I'm like, this is Saturday night, bro, and we are unable to get Mexican food.
Right. And imagine all those people
It's such a weird
that just
time.
have a stamp. I mean, those guys that came over here and they have a business that what's crazy about it, immigrants that, like, my family was an immigrant. Immigrants come here and then automatically stand like either a small stand or like an actual building, like business. But like these people are sitting at home right now, and if they didn't onboard to the digital age, they're unemployed. They have no money coming through, and people
Yeah.
want their service and that. So there's two sets of mentalities happening right now. It is uh, lacking and insecurity and fear and negativity, that mindset that's keeping people from taking advantage of stuff, and the opportunity mindset, which is what I hope to inspire, like with you, through what we're talking about right now, to take action and go do something about it. You know what I mean? There's so many opportunities. I got a buddy who is an engineer, makes a lot of money. So his side gig of doing barbecue, it's just a little thing for him. But now it has exploded because everyone wants barbecue and there's only delivery. So now
Yeah,
his,
yeah.
yeah, his
So
backyard
he's
is now
crushing it.
a full grown like business because he's a real competitor compared to when like you got to go down the street and that store is not open right now, can't do takeout. So people need to take advantage of what is in front of them right now, transitioning to the digital world, being able to move money around and safely grow money and plan things out. Most importantly, out of all of this, is just think about the future and then plan out what's real right now. I think that's the most crucial thing I'm taking away from all of this stuff, is like take care of what matters today and then
Yeah,
plan for the future.
yeah, plan for the future and live in the present.
Mm-hmm.
Take the steps, the little baby steps. You know, the 1%. You know, like so. You know, right now, every dollar that comes in, I'm
Yeah.
just putting 10% into a savings account, and I'm going to do that for a while. I'm just going to let it grow, and I'm going to let it grow, and I'm going to let it grow, and
Mm-hmm.
then once I get it to a certain point, then I
Yeah.
want to figure out a couple of different places I can put it. I'm not really doing anything with it right now. We're in a
Mm-hmm.
really weird situation. So I want to see how this plays out a little bit and just let that savings grow and grow and grow. And then once we kind of get through this and
Yeah.
we kind of really understand what our life is going to look like after this, because this changes everything. This whole entire situation that we're going through right now changes everything. It's going to be different. It's
Mm-hmm.
totally going to be different. I don't think, and I think it's good. I think it's allowing us to innovate more and becoming more creative and becoming more connected and becoming more empathetic, you know? So that's kind of where I'm at with it, with the whole money thing right now, just saving and saving and saving and saving a certain amount. So when I get to a place of understanding, okay, this is the economy now, this is what we're living in. So where can I put it in order to let it grow? Let me ask you a question. When it comes to cryptocurrency, what's your take on that? And what is your take on what's going to happen to the dollar? Because I know a lot of people that are, you know, financial guru people that kind of know some stuff that's going on. And a lot of them talk about it's not going to be long before the dollar is not worth anything. So what's your take on that? What do you think is the smartest, I guess, kind of investment for right now?
So we got to think
When it
about
comes
what has
to,
happened to the U.S. economy right now. We have injected more than $2 trillion. Essentially, what America as a federal budget pays to Medicare, Medicaid, and Social Security. $2 trillion. That's an annual budget.
yeah,
Well, we're paying that this year. On top of that, we've added another 2 trillion just to keep businesses and people afloat. So where's that money? Typically, when you spend that much money without having it, typically the fiat dollar inflates, which means if you've seen hyperinflation, if you go to Africa, let's say, and spend a dollar of our money might be in one of the country's currencies, maybe $1 million. You're a millionaire if you go if you go to some third world country because of hyperinflation of their dollar. Let's say Venezuela right now. That that hyperinflation is real. It could happen to us, but the dollar is built on the confidence of all the people in the world. So where does this take cryptocurrency? It allows cryptocurrency the ability to become a dominant player in the long run. Right now, there are a lot of people who will continue to work with the dollar because the dollar is tied to literally every system in the world, right?
Yeah.
So even though there's nothing backing the dollar except for pure confidence, all the central banks, and there's a central bank in every country except for four, I believe. And so those central banks are the ones that work together to make sure that it's not the economy, everything is not going to collapse. So is this system going to last long? We know that things will collapse eventually. So what is the plan? The plan is to just be smart about what you're doing. Like you can invest long term in the stock market. You can invest long term in different things. You can invest in crypto. You can invest in gold, in things that hold value like art or assets. So
Mm.
that is why it's smart to diversify, and that's why it's smart to protect yourself first. You need a layer of protection before you go out there and decide to do these things called investments, right?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so that cash flow insurance, that's what I actually set up with everybody first. And if you want to get a level beyond that, creating trust and putting your companies and organizations into trust will allow you to create legacies way beyond your lifetime. And that's a powerful thing. So if you want to understand like what the biggest guys, like let's say for example, Facebook's owner Mark Zuckerberg, the William and Melinda Gates Foundation, Warren Buffett's foundation, all their money, including President Trump, all their money are in trusts.
Yeah.
They own nothing, but they control everything, and that's a crazy idea to come into. It takes a lot of going deep in finance to get there, but when you get down to the very basics of it, it's just saving and growing money. That's all we're talking about here. So for you, I would encourage you. I know it's not a lot. I know you're putting it in Acorn and it's putting a little bit here, but I
Mm-hmm.
encourage you to do two things at the same time: save and grow money at the same time. Because the thing about saving is, if it's not going to be growing, it's not going to keep up with inflation. And even if it's not a lot of money, it just gets you into the habit. Even if you're just,
Yeah.
and this is how you save. You and grow. You put a little bit, like whatever it is, into a savings account until you reach the point, and you can do this every month, whatever it is. When it comes to savings and growing money, being able to do a little bit at a time allows you to break it down for yourself, where in your savings account, you want to aim for 6 months to 12 months of your living expenses. And then, and hey, that might take years to get there, but who cares? Just put a little bit at a time until you get to that number. On the
Until you
growing
have
part,
it, until you have enough in your savings account that could cover 6 to 12 months expenses, is what you're saying. That's the goal you want to get to in just your regular savings, to
mhm,
have enough money in your savings to cover 6 to 12 months living expenses. God forbid something happen.
mhm. And then
So
on
on the
the
growing
growth
side,
thing, you
this
really
is
want
what
to
I'm
put,
interested in.
yeah, you want to put it away in something that's not gonna take any nosedives in the market. First of all, you want to put it in something that can grow tax free. You want to be able to pull money out of it when you need it and not pay any penalties.
Like
You want to
what?
keep
Give
it.
me give me a couple of examples of what you're talking about when you say where to put your money so it grows. Like, give me a couple of examples.
So we got Roth IRAs, we got IRAs, we got annuities, we got IRPs, insurance retirement plans, HSAs, health savings accounts, 529 college savings, stock market, and then when in stocks, mutual funds, ETFs. There's so many different places where you can put money in and it grows. Now,
Yeah,
if
that's
you
what
want
Acorns
to,
does. Acorns puts it in ETFs. Is
good,
where
good, good,
Acorns
good, good.
puts. Yeah. So
Well, there's that's growth. That's
yeah.
some good
So
growth.
Some of those, though, isn't there a minimum amount that you can put into a Roth IRA
Roth
monthly?
IRAs cap it at like 5,500 for the average young guy like you and me.
Hmm.
IRAs do the same thing. They cap it at 5,500. Right now, special bonus, it's the quarantine season. You don't have any penalties right now. So if you have money you want to pull out of your Roth or your IRA, there's no penalties for pulling your money out right now, which typically there's a 10% penalty. You
Hmm.
will have to pay taxes at the end of the year based on if it grew your income, right? So if it's like $3,000, nothing. But if it took out $50,000, be prepared to take that 50,000 plus your amount of income, and then pay that in taxes at the end of the year. So be smart, and all it takes is just having a conversation with a financial planner like myself, or somebody who knows what they're talking about with money. Don't ask your broke uncle; he probably won't know and probably will give you bad
Right. That's
advice.
like going. That's like going to a priest for marriage advice. They had no idea. So
There's some parts where maybe they might make sense.
their advice is don't do it. Just don't do it. Uh, so no, my question was though, isn't there a minimum, like, don't you have to put at least $100 a month into a Roth IRA? Isn't there like a monthly minimum?
You
Is that
you set
true?
up for yourself how much you put into certain things. So let's
Hmm.
say, for example, insurance retirement plans, they are still an insurance product. So the lowest amount that you can put into them is the cost of insurance. So if it costs $100 for this baby to be alive, that's it. But then if you put more than $100 now, let's say I put $500, which is actually what I do. I put like $500. So the $400 sitting on top, that's just cash value that's growing. Now you have a
Hmm.
choice because all of these different products have costs like stocks and other things. If you have somebody else playing it for you or using it like a financial advisor, Series 7 license, he or she might be charging you a 2% fee for that. So you just got to be aware of what are the fees and costs, and what are you getting out of it. So that way you can get a product that works for you and for your timeline. And then you need to be able to look at that every year. Just like a business plan grows and changes, so does a financial plan. And the most important thing that I can offer to everybody is go create a personal financial strategy that allows you to understand what's the dollar amount you're going to need when you retire and how are you going to get there. Like for me, for example, when I started out at 25, the goal is by the time I'm 55, 30 years later, I put out $500 a month, $6,000 a year, $180,000 in 30 years, and that $180,000 growing with interest to 1.5 million when I'm 55. Now I've experienced ups and downs in business, but just basics, I just want something that I don't have to worry about, right?
Yeah.
Now,
Yeah.
if my business grows and I'm like a multi-millionaire, get to billion-dollar status, great. But if I don't, at any point in time, what happens if you get sick or hurt and you're working your day job and you can't work anymore and you're the guy that's in charge of your family? Well, then GoFundMe account or you go bankrupt. These are the two options if you don't plan these things accordingly. So
Yeah.
I would like to encourage people, don't get a GoFundMe. It's cheaper to plan now than it is to have to wait to see if other people love you enough to give you some money, right?
Well, you know, I remember I had to do that last year. I got
Cool.
myself into a, remember I sent it to you, the GoFundMe thing. I got myself into a
Money.
huge pickle, dude. It was a year ago. No, it was a little over a year ago.
I
But got in a
remember a
very,
GoFundMe account. I don't remember what it was for though.
yeah, I got myself in a very bad situation, man. And, you know, was getting evicted. And it was a really tough time because last year, January, I went to rehab. Went to rehab for 30 days because I was starting to slip again, man. And I had to go.
Hmm.
So it was a tough time. And that right there was a huge wake up call for me. And really at that point is when I really started to get in the mindset of doing things differently and really taking my life seriously and not just playing around. Like, you know, it's important to have fun, but life's not a joke. You know what I mean? Like some areas we got to be serious about. We got to take seriously. We got to learn. If you want to grow, if you want to develop, if you want to have any type of freedom, being able to travel the world and, you know, all of that stuff. Like if you just have a basic ass job, it's going to be very hard for you to travel the world unless
So,
you're very smart, like you said, with a, you know, putting back a little bit of money starting at an early age and letting it grow for you. But you know, I don't want to be 60 years old on a cruise ship. You know, I want to be 45 on a cruise ship because you know, I want to get to a place where I can go scuba diving in the Great Barrier Reef. And if I'm 70, I most likely am not going to be in the physical shape. Well, maybe I will. You know, that's a
do it,
stupid thing
man.
to
Let's
say.
let's have like
Yeah,
Google robot legs and eyeballs, and let's still keep going, man.
dude, can you imagine where things are going to be in, let's see, I'm 38, so 40 and 32 years from now? If you just look at
Microchip in
how,
your brain, augmented
oh,
reality contact lenses or eyeballs. I'm pretty sure.
I was
Yeah.
watching Elon Musk on Joe Rogan yesterday. I went back and watched that episode, and
The
that
one
dude's
where he was
creepy,
high.
bro. Yeah, yeah. I mean, he's like, he just, he's creepy. Just the way that he talks about some certain things, I'm like, dude, what is gonna happen? Where are things going? Or is it gonna be like I Am Legend? You know,
Oh, it's I
I
Am
don't.
Legend right now. You know, you strap
It
on
is.
your thing and you go to the grocery store because you know you don't know.
Yeah, yeah. You don't
You
know,
might
man.
get corona.
Throwing on gloves and a mask, and you know, stepping out. You know, like one step away from what's it called when you got to put on the big suit?
uh, I don't know. One step away from, I don't know.
Putting on
I
that
don't,
big weird suit, the
yeah,
one that deters radiation, looks all space like. So okay, so let me ask you this question, and we'll wrap up here in just a minute.
yeah,
So
yeah, yeah.
3, 2, 1. So what do you think for, let's say, the average paycheck to paycheck person, right? That's how they live. That's what they rely on. What do you think is the wisest first move when it comes to where to put a little bit of money to make it grow? When you're paycheck to paycheck, what do you think is the first move?
You know, honestly, the truth is, when you're paycheck to paycheck, at any moment it could all collapse, and anything you're doing may fall apart. The very first move is to definitely do what you're doing, which is savings. And Robinhood, Acorn, these are good small things because you don't have to put a lot into them. And if you can afford, even if you're paycheck to paycheck, and I know guys that are like 100,000, 500,000 a year, and they're still paycheck to paycheck.
Mm-hmm.
So even paycheck to paycheck, what I typically say is for if you're in your 20s, put away 10% of that money. If you're in your 30s and you haven't started and you're in your 30s, well, you're gonna have to figure out a way to put 20% in your 40s, 30% in your 50s, 40%, and this is what will allow you to get to retirement age okay. Now,
Mm-hmm.
most people can't do like the 20s, the 30s, 40s, 50s, like they can't do that. So what do you do right now? Let's say if you're earning like $50,000, for sure what I have seen is anybody averaging like husband and wife 50,000 dollars, $100,000 average income for a household. They have about $2,000, a thousand to $2,000 worth of discretionary income every month. They just don't know where it goes. Like I do this all day long. I just sit down, financial needs analysis after financial needs analysis, and on average, the single dude has between 500 to 1,500. She doesn't know where that goes. The average married couple, they have on average 1,500, $2,500. They don't know where that goes. So that's actually money automatically right off the bat. They can pull just like $200. You know what I mean? Like 200 bucks, $100, and they can start growing $100 a month. Now that doesn't sound like a lot, but tell you what, if you wanted to do a college fund for a kid, a baby, that $100 could grow in by the time they're 18, have like 25,000 to $30,000 for this kid.
Mm,
You know,
yeah, yeah.
where can they grow that money? I love all of these different options. It just depends on what is the best one for them. I don't give I don't give out this is the best one for you. You know what I mean? Uh,
Right.
it'll depend on them, and it'll depend on their situation. But all of the different things I just mentioned earlier, they're all options. And now it just needs to be sit down and look at it to create the right options. You know.
Okay, so for your financial planning services, do you work on a monthly retainer, or how does that
So
work?
here's the separation between me and a financial advisor. A financial advisor is Series 7 licensed, which means that he can charge you or she can charge you a fee for just going over your finances. So the difference between me and them is I can't put your money into the market. I only do fixed accounts, which means I can grow money in something like that matches the market, but I have never lost a single person a dollar in the market before, which is, I'm proud to say, my people have saved up some good chunks of money,
Hmm.
and some of them have been able to borrow from it, and without having any losses, without, and there's a lot of good things. But for me, I do complementary financial needs analysis. I look at basically what are the things you got, and then I give options for what you can do. You can do A, B, or C. And any of them would be better than nothing at this point. Does that make sense? And
Yeah,
it doesn't, yeah,
absolutely.
yeah. And then for that, I do client reviews every quarter or once a year, just to sit back, and life changes. Now they have a kid. Now they're wanting to buy a house. They need to fix their credit. So I cover all insurance products. I cover all retirement types of plans, including small business owners who want to give benefits for their people. I can help them set up benefit programs for their companies. If they are wanting to buy a house and improve their credit, I can do credit repair, and that's some of the services we do, and helping budget and plan. So what basically I get to do is not charge people obnoxious, obscene amounts of money for just planning, and allow them to be able to if they take any of the solutions, I already get paid a commission on any of the solutions that I send their way. If they decide I want
Oh,
to go,
cool.
let me go with that. So they don't have to worry, like if they're gonna already need to improve their credit, I'm just gonna get paid if they just go get their credit through me. You know what I mean? So the
Hmm.
really neat thing is I'm product agnostic and I'm carrier agnostic. What that means is that I don't care which product and I don't care which company. I represent more than 30 other companies, major companies in the US. So if you've seen them on a commercial, I probably can represent them. And that's the
Interesting.
powerful thing. That's the powerful thing about what I'm able to do. I'm not going to stick you in like a one product, one solution, you know, type deal. And I think that's powerful for people. So to wrap it up, when it comes to financial planning, insurance, life insurance at the very get-go, just to cover your butt and take care of, let's say, living benefits if in case you get hurt or sick, because health insurance
Mhm.
isn't going to pay your rent if you're lying in the hospital bed, right?
Right.
Um, Documents, estate planning. This is still on the protection side. So a trust and a will, and then other healthcare directives, things of that nature, just basic documents.
Hmm.
Don't go pay 3,500 to a lawyer for that. Just do basic paperwork. I can do it with you, you know. Estate planning, uh, business contracts. If they have like, they need to, some people I know have been doing business for years. They do it out of the personal banking, like no go. Set it up the right way. Business documentation. So all this is on the
Yeah.
protection side.
Yeah, that's what my
Uh,
dad was doing for a lot of years with the windows. And I came in when we partnered. I was like, nope, If we're gonna
yeah,
do this, bro, we're gonna do it the right way. Let's get this stuff set up properly. Get the contract, set it up with the state,
right.
get the insurance, do all that stuff. Um,
Retirement planning,
yeah.
just basic financial like budgeting. What do you want to do? Okay, cool. We can handle that. Tax prep, we can do that. And so all of these things we want to combine, and we're going to be able to handle more. Hopefully, in the future, we're building out our wealth management platform. Hopefully, we'll be able to, not hopefully, but we will be able to in the future do like cryptocurrency and basic banking. So that's what we're wanting to grow into in the future.
Awesome. Well, where me and my wife are at right now, it's time to get serious with you and have another conversation. We're not going to be able to do it at a coffee shop like we did last time. But this time do it for real. And I appreciate you, man. I really do.
Thank you, Lyndall. And I hope that as we continue forward, that you and your wife will be a great example for other people to say, hey, look, this is easy. It's not hard. You can do it too. And then they do it, you know?
Yeah. It's really cool information, man. And, it's sometimes I'm like, man, I wish I would have learned it when I was younger. But hey, it is what it is. Here I am right now. Do what? You have a meme for that? I'm sure you do. Freaking millennial. You probably got a whole library of memes.
I have a library of memes for that.
I love it. Well, hey, man, it was a pleasure having you on the show, dude. I really appreciate you taking the time to chat with me and talk about this really valuable information and drop some knowledge on how I can really help some people during this time. And, know a little bit more and be a little bit more smart about how they do things. So you are Dallas based. How can people get a hold of you if they're interested in learning more about this financial planning and how to get square?
So my handle is I'm the Viceroy Entrepreneur. My name is Conrad Alagaban, and I'm pretty sure you're going to be posting little things on the bottom there.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
So you can find me on Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram, all of those, and then they all point out to websites or things that attach to me. And so feel free to reach out to me any which way you like to hit social media or email or call. I'm available. So I'll have all my information sent to Lyndall to attach to this to the release of this talk. And I really appreciate, Lyndall, that you do this for other people. You're such a giver. Ever since I've known you, all I know you want to do is help other people. And it's so cool because we think the same. Like, I would like to get paid for helping people. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I'm happy to see that you're in a better space today and you're doing all of this powerful stuff. And it takes that kind of that negativity and that hit rock bottom to be able to do what you're doing right now. You can come from a space of real power and empowerment. So thank you for all you do, man. I appreciate you.
Absolutely. And thank you for all you do, man. I really appreciate you being here. Ladies and gentlemen, the one and only Conrad Alagaban. I call him the Filipino phenomenon. Alagaban, the Filipino phenomenon. So, hey, I appreciate you being here, man. Take care, be healthy, and we'll talk very, very soon so we can take these next steps and get this thing rocking.
Thank you. Have a great day, Lyndall.
Cool. You too. Thanks for being here. Peace out, everybody. Y'all have a good night. Getting live with Lyndall Keith. Out.